Differentiation is the key. As a sales rep, you want to make sure you stand out. Specifically, as a modern seller, there's some strategies and some ideas that you can do right now to make sure you stand out from your competitors and make sure you thrive. You're going to love this stuff. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist podcast. I'm your host, Donald C. Kelly, the Sales Evangelist, and I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And on this episode, I'm bringing on a very special guest, a friend of mine, Amy Franko. And Amy is a genius when it comes towards helping sellers stand out, especially modern sales reps. She has a book that I highly recommend you check out. It's in the show notes. We have a link there so you can take advantage of it. You can find some cool stuff about Amy. Amy and I are going to be sharing a stage actually this fall at Outbound. If you haven't heard about Outbound yet, go to the show notes, check out the event. It's an amazing conference hosted by Jeb Blunt and Anthony Iannarino, and some amazing folks put this together. It's in Atlanta, Georgia. So go ahead and check that information out. You can come out and visit with Amy and I and get a chance to meet many of us and some of the cool things that we're doing. Let's talk about what is a modern seller, though. Like, I feel like, we can say, well, Donald, that term could be used any different time of history, but what does a modern seller look like right now in 2022?
So yes, great place to start. And at a high level, a modern seller is one who really does two or three things very well. And it doesn't matter what your product or service is. We could have this conversation, could have had this conversation 10 years ago, or we could have it 10 years from now. There are some foundational things that a modern seller or a modern sales leader does very well. The first is that their value and what they bring to a client or a prospective client, they are a really important part of the equation. So they are always looking for how they can get that advantage, to get that expertise, to really be part of the value equation. You cannot be separated from your product, your service, or your solution. So that's one element of a modern seller. A modern seller is also one who is really seen as a difference maker, a differentiator in the eyes of their clients and in the eyes of their industry, I would even say as well. So they are someone who rises above, they are seen as that difference maker, and then lastly, they are someone who is seen as a competitive advantage by their clients. When I go to work with a client, and your Bumblebee reference was really interesting, and I had never thought about it that way, but I think it's really apt because I get to work across a variety of different industries. I have my industries that I spend more time in than others, but that's a competitive advantage. When you hire me to work with your organization, you want me to have a variety of perspectives and to be working across industries. So in my world, that's an example of competitive advantage. In your world as a professional seller or a sales leader, whatever your role happens to be, you have to uncover what that competitive advantage is in the eyes of your clients. So those are the three things that I would say make up a modern seller, and then you adapt those to your particular situation and industry.
So if I'm here and I'm talking to Amy now, I understand who I am as a modern seller, what a modern seller makeup might look like. What are some of those ways you that I can actually make that so I stand out? And some of these value points, I think, or points you emphasize, kind of tied to that. But are there anything that I need to know as a sales rep that I should leave with today to start doing? And we could discuss those. That's going to help me to stand out as that effective modern seller.
Absolutely. So let me kind of segue this into some things that are really tactical that somebody could take and start to apply, and then we could sort of dive into those. I would say the first is what we've kind of already touched on, and the first is, as a sales professional, understanding the makeup of your territory, what you have been assigned to sell into. Whether it's a particular vertical, you're selling a particular solution set, have you taken the strategic view of what actually makes up your territory? So when you understand that, and you understand the addressable market of what makes up your territory, then you could make some really educated decisions about where am I going to be able to improve my odds, the lowest friction to meet my quota, to exceed my quota, who would be the ideal clients within the territory. Because many of us don't take that time to really laser focus on what makes up my territory. So that would be one place that I would absolutely recommend that someone spend time doing, because it will make you, you'll get there faster in the end.
So we're making sure that we understand the makeup of our territory. We're creating this business plan, utilizing these elements that you shared here. That's helping me to improve as a modern, or stand out as a modern seller. Anything else you have? Any other tactical ideas that we can use?
Yeah. So I would say, as the so kind of dovetailing off of the business plan idea, when you have a really good understanding of the decision makers and the stakeholders that you want to be building a relationship with, I'm a big believer in really developing a strong network ecosystem, and really that boils down to what are the relationships that we are building and who are we building them with. A lot of times with relationship building, it can maybe feel like we're kind of running on a treadmill. We don't always know who to build relationships with. So this kind of comes back to the tactical idea of, if I have a really clear understanding of my verticals, of the clients I want to be working with, then I can focus on building relationships with those people, and they become a part of my network ecosystem. So I'm a really big fan of taking some time to understand the key relationships that you need so that you can begin building those, because that's going to help you stand out. And it's not an overnight thing either, like you were talking about before, but in the end, that's really going to help you stand out when you can combine the relationship piece with also bringing your really strong expertise and your value to the table.
But you did talk about more of these in your book as well. Do you mind talking about that for a second?
Absolutely. So the modern seller dives into what I see as 5 capabilities that any sales professional or sales leader, even a sales enablement professional, can be building in themselves and in their teams. So the 5 capabilities are that a modern seller is agile, a modern seller is entrepreneurial, which is where that business planning piece comes from. A modern seller is also holistic. They are social, and they are an ambassador. And I like to think of these as capabilities behind the scenes. They're behind the scenes skills. When you build these in yourself or in your teams, you or your team are going to become better at the everyday tactical skills of selling.
If folks want to get in touch with you, to connect with you, how do they go about doing so?
So 2 places. Please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. Send me an invitation. Let me know that you heard me on the Sales Evangelist podcast. I would love to connect with you. And then you're also welcome to go to amyfranko.com.
Hey, that was Amy Franko. If you want to connect with her and take advantage of her book, find the information in the show notes. Tell her that you heard her on the Sales Evangelist podcast, and tell her that you would like to have her back again. I know she'll love that, and I know you're going to get a lot from listening to her. Follow her on LinkedIn, because she shares a lot of great information, a lot of great knowledge, and connect with her on her website. As always, we share stuff like this. We bring folks on like Amy. We talk about these sponsors. We share their content because we want you to thrive and succeed. We want you to be able to know what to do and to connect with these prospects. We want you to be able to close more deals. But most importantly, we want you to thrive, raise your level of thinking, and go out and do big things. Thanks so much for watching.